Okay, y'all, get in here because I have so much to share with you about traveling to Colombia, specifically Medellin, especially as a female traveler. So if you're planning a trip to Medellin, if you're trying to visit Colombia, just watch this video first, all right, before you go. Hola mi gente, welcome back to my channel. Welcome. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I have so much to share about this digital nomad life, traveling around the world, making money online. So if that type of stuff interests you, make sure you subscribe. All right. With no further ado, let's get into this video because I've been in Medellin, Colombia for the past month and a half and I have taken notes, literally. I got all the notes on the questions you guys been asking about, is it safe? If I'm a female solo traveler, can I come and feel comfortable? What else? Do I need to know Spanish? Is it dangerous? Cost of living, all that stuff. So we're gonna get into all of that in this video, all right? And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Even though I've only been here for a little over a month, I have explored so much of this city and I definitely have a lot to share, all right? I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the main question that most people ask me, and it's safety. Every time I share a video of me walking around somewhere in an Uber, people are like, oh my God, be safe, oh my God, be safe. I get it. The things you've heard about Colombia, the reputation that it may have over the years may cause you to think that it is just this like chaotic, dangerous place with drugs and kidnapping. It is not that. Now, does that mean that crime and drugs and trafficking and all that stuff, does that mean it doesn't exist? No, I'm sure it does. But from my personal experience, since I've been here, Colombia has been very welcoming to me, and I'm gonna start with the moment I got off my flight. All right, as soon as I landed in Medellin, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I've never been here before, and so getting off my flight, I'm like, all the things that I've heard just started trying to creep in, like it's not safe, it's dangerous, be careful. And I really, as a traveler, especially as a female, have really had to let that go. Like, although yes, you want to keep your head on a swivel, that is something that will definitely ruin your travel experience. There is crime, there is danger, there is stuff everywhere you go. So you really just have to be mindful and use your common sense. The airport attendants, like, they were very welcoming, they were very helpful. And so that was kind of my first intro into the country, right? Now, I've heard horror stories about standing in line at immigration coming into Colombia, and I honestly didn't have an issue. I was in and out. My flight was super early in the morning. I think it was a Monday, and I had no issues. My line was probably like 2 minutes long. Not saying that that's the case all the time, but that's just from my experience, right? So getting out of the airport, you got to be prepared to get bombarded by the taxi people. They're going to be like, hey, hola, señor, bienvenidos, la, la, la. It can be a little overwhelming. So you might want to call your Uber, get somewhere like away from the doors where you can call your Uber and just be ready and waiting on your Uber, because as soon as you hit them doors, those taxi drivers are hustling. It's may the best man win, and if they win you, that's gonna help them get paid. So they're not looking to attack you, they're not looking to none of that, they just trying to get their money, all right? Speaking of taxis, when you get an Uber from the airport into the main city, it's about a 45-minute ride, maybe an hour, depending on traffic. It probably is only gonna cost you about $20 to $25, all right? I highly recommend doing some type of rideshare app. It's just a little, to me, it's a little safer. It's a corporate company, so if something happens, like you can report something, you can, you know how Uber is. So I haven't used any other service but Uber. They do have their own systems here. I forget, in-car? I forget what it's called, but you can get a taxi, you can get a moto, like a scooter, motorbike. You can find any way you want to get from the airport into the main part of Medellin. That is totally up to you. I recommend Uber. All right, again, $25. Now, editing this part in, because somebody asked me, do you think I should rent a car? Let me just tell you, unless you got extreme experience driving a stick and you can navigate uphill battles, literally, okay? Because Medellin is in a mountain, all right? Do it if you brave, all right? I would not recommend. I would not recommend, okay? The way they drive, you need to be from here if you want to drive here and feel safe. I'm just saying. That's just me. That's just my 2 cents, all right? If not, just don't say I didn't warn you, okay? Next question, currency exchange. So the US dollar is substantially more than the Colombian peso. Right now, one US dollar is a little over 4,000 Colombian pesos. I have this little app called Currency. So if I get confused about how much something is, I'll just put it in this app. Let me see if I got some monies in here. I need to re-up. Speaking of, always have cash on you because a lot of places do not take cards. A lot of places do, but you don't want to get caught slipping. So let me see. Okay, so this is 1 mil, 1 Colombian peso. So it's probably about the equivalent of a quarter. All right, so you need 4 mil in order to equal 1 US dollar. That's 2 mil. 4 mil. I get coffee every day. It costs me about 8 to 10 mil. I take Ubers. I could take probably a 10 to 15 minute drive or Uber, and it'll probably only cost me about 15 to 20 mil, which is like barely $5, right? So cost of living in Colombia is very, very low depending on where you're coming from. I'm coming from the US, so to me, I can definitely make my US dollar stretch here a lot further. All right, now speaking of cost of living, here's the thing you absolutely need to know when you're coming, you're visiting, especially as a tourist, aka extranjero, okay? Because Medellin has become more popular over the years for tourists, they are definitely raising these prices up, all right? So when you go into the more heavily populated tourist areas, you are gonna be paying way more than you would if you stayed 10 minutes away from the tourist area or 5 minutes away from the tourist areas. For example, El Poblado is one of the more touristy areas. It's where more of the Colombians who have more money live. And so because they know you're a tourist and they know that you're probably gonna pay more, they're gonna charge you more. So if you were to, let's just say, get an Airbnb in El Poblado, right? Let's just say for a month. That Airbnb could easily cost you between $1,600 to $1,800 a month if you're going through Airbnb, all right? If you're going through Airbnb and you stay maybe 10 minutes away in Laureles or Belén, which are very nice areas. It's areas where the Colombian locals stay who have a little bit more money. And those areas, the Airbnb monthly will probably cost you between $1,100 and $1,200 a month, depending on how long you stay. Also, just an Airbnb hack. In Colombia, there's certain restrictions around Airbnbs and like short-term stays. So if you're only staying for like a week or a couple days, you're gonna get a higher price if you're using Airbnb. But if you open that up and you stay for like a month, your prices are gonna drop drastically, all right? Another trick you can do is to find some of the buildings. If you're staying long term, look at some of the buildings where they are promoting like rentals or anything like that. Get their WhatsApp and call them directly, because if you go through Airbnb, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more. But if you find some like realtor or a company to go through, or a person that's renting their home, you will probably pay way less. I would say the average cost of living, if you're really paying like Colombian prices, you're probably gonna pay between $800 to $1,000 a month, depending on the area that you're staying in. All right. Now, if you're staying in Poblado, you don't mind touristy kind of vibe, then just expect to pay more. Laureles, it's a little less touristy, a lot more local. You're gonna have a lower cost of living just in general. And then other surrounding areas, open up your searches if you're looking on Airbnb or Verbo or something like that to other surrounding communities, because they're just as nice. And I honestly like them a lot better. You can feel the city more. In my opinion, I don't think Poblado is that walkable unless you're staying like on the main strip, which is near Provenza, which is an area that has lots of restaurants, lots of shops, things to do, you know what I'm saying? It's like the strip. But outside of that, if you're staying like one of the high rises that's not right next to Provenza, you probably ain't gonna be able to walk that much. I like to be able to go down the street, get me a nice little lunch, a nice coffee, walk around, hear some music, And that's just kind of the vibe that I really love and enjoy about Colombia. So it just depends on what you're looking for, and your experience may be different. I'm not from Colombia. This is my first time in Medellin. This is just my experience, and when I travel, I like to be in the non-touristy areas because it just really gives me a feel for the city and the culture and the community. Speaking of walkability, as a female traveler, I like to feel safe and know that I'm comfortable when I'm walking around, right? And so some of the things that I do to make sure that I can do that is to, one, watch what I have on, to keep my head on a swivel, honestly just use my common sense, right? And trust my discernment. If I'm walking out somewhere and I just don't feel right, I trust that something is in the energy that's not making me feel okay. I can't say that I have felt that since I've been traveling at all, but that's just something that I know that I should lean on. And I also try really hard not to make myself a target. I think in certain places in South America, it's a lot easier for me to blend in because there are a lot of Afro-Latinos who look just like me, right? I'm a Black American. And so sometimes they can't really tell if I'm from here or not. I had a girl literally yesterday at the local store as she was speaking really, really fast. And I was like, I'm sorry, can you speak slower for me? And she was like, oh, you're not from here? I was like, no. So I like that feeling because it helps me feel like I can blend in a bit. But there are some things that will make you stick out if you are not from here, right? If you got on a bunch of jewelry and you're really flashy, right, you can definitely stand out. It can also make you a target. They say this saying here called no da papaya. And it's not a direct translation, but it means like, don't give a reason to be a target. You don't want to look like you want to get your chain snatched. All right, you don't want to look like you got this brand new iPhone and you out vlogging, making content, not paying attention. Somebody could look at that phone and be like, oh, that's my rent. Let me go ahead and snatch that. Boom. Somebody drive by on a moto and snatch your phone right out your hand, and now what? You know what I'm saying? So it's not that that is everyone's intention who's walking around, but there could be someone out there, just like if you were in Atlanta or Miami or California, like on that same mindset of, I gotta eat and you look like you got it, so what's up? You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful because you just don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. Getting your phone snatched is very common. So and it happens so fast. You can literally be on a corner like, let me send this text real quick. You're not paying attention. You scrolling on TikTok, whatever. Boom, your phone gone. All right, you do not want that to happen to you, especially if you ain't got no backups, you ain't got insurance, whatever. It's don't do it. All right, don't do it to yourself. Common sense, be mindful of your surroundings. Another thing that I do, especially as a female, I do not try to wear like overly revealing clothing. Like, I'm in the fitness industry and I've been wearing sports bras and leggings outside like it's regular attire for a long time. I've had to shift that mindset because it can and will attract the wrong attention. If you've been following my journey, you know I started off in Panama and then I went to Lima, Peru, and now I'm in Colombia. And the differences in how women dress are night and day, right? Like Panama and Lima, they didn't play that. You got your cleavage out, you got on little shorts, whatever. The Tias are looking at you like, how dare you? Like, oh, you must be working. And so in Colombia, you can kind of get away with it a little bit because it's a little bit more normalized, but there is also a big population here of women who do work with their bodies. And so it's not necessarily that is frowned upon. It's just kind of like, we might know that you might be into some other things, right? I've actually had a few of y'all ask about like here. I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, but it is very much blended in, all right, because it's legal. It's legal. And so, you know, if you do go to, let's say, Provenza on a Friday or Saturday night, you will see the girls who are working, and it's not the stereotypical version of what you may think it is. Because I think in the States, I can only speak on my experience, they show you imagery of what that work life looks like, and it's not glamorous, right? It's very much drug related, it's very much just kind of like disheveled and maybe seedy, you know? And so here you will see women who look like women who walk around normally in Miami or LA or Atlanta. They got the the body done, hair done, makeup, nails done, everything did, and they look beautiful, right? But they on a mission because they know that a lot of gringos will come in and be like, yeah, I need that. If you're comfortable, you know, dressing a certain way, that's, do you, boo, do you. But if you do decide to dress a little less modestly, then you will just need to be prepared to make sure you're ready for the attention that might come with that. All right. I will say this though, I think the Colombian men are a little desensitized, you know, and so it's kind of like it's kind of like being in Miami. Like, if you live in Miami, you live in Atlanta, you live in one of these other big cities, you're used to seeing a baddie with a BBL and a 40-inch bust down, and you're like, okay, you know. But if you ain't never been around that, that might be fascinating to you. So you just kind of gotta feel the vibes, okay? Read the room, dress in a way that you're going to be comfortable. And if you're comfortable means that you are a little less modest, just be mindful of where you are, who you're with, and where you're going. All right. Now, one thing that I have learned to not do, to just be safe and be mindful, is to not be overly friendly, especially to men. I will say that I am a very outgoing, bubbly personality, and when I see someone, I'm gonna naturally speak. Like, I'm gonna naturally be like, hi, like, and I also get excited to speak Spanish because I'm practicing my Spanish. However, okay, you being overly nice, especially to men, can be almost like an invitation. I ain't got time. So I have had to practice my resting B face. You know what I mean? Don't talk to me. I'm walking down the street and I'm literally like, don't talk to me. Ain't no hola, como esta, la, 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 la. No. Just without doing too much or saying too much, I don't even try to engage in conversation, right? I'm not gonna be rude, but I just don't want to, nope, have a good one, you know? So call it what you want. As a female traveler, I don't engage in conversation with men I don't know. I just don't. Now, let's talk about things to do. Number one is my favorite thing, if you know, you know, is to eat. Colombian food feels like a warm hug to your soul. Like, it's just, everywhere I go, it feel like somebody's tia is in the back throwing down. And just the food is just so warm and hearty and fresh and just, oof. Colombian food, 10 out of 10 is my favorite by far. There's tons of restaurants, tons of rooftops. Especially if you look them up online, you could definitely find some really good places to go. But a popular tourist attraction here is Guatapé. It's like this huge mountain that you climb up. You walk up all these stairs up to the top of the mountain. It's like this beautiful view. I have not been yet, and I definitely am going to go. So that's something to do. Comuna 13, it used to be this really, really like bad neighborhood, like poverty and crime and all this, and the city came and dusted it off, and now, not saying that those things don't still exist there, but it is a very popular tourist attraction. So you'll go, there's a lot of art and graffiti, and you can tour like the different shops and parts of the community, people playing football, playing basketball, like stuff like that, and it's just something to do. It's very popular. And then La Provenza, it is packed on the weekend. It's just a strip of bars, restaurants, music, like you name it. Definitely a popular thing to do. And then on Sundays, and I think they do it on some other days too, but mainly on Sundays, La Ciclovia is a spot where you can go and they shut the streets down and you can ride your bike, you can cycle, run. It's like all these fitness things going on. There's also vendors and stuff lining the streets so you can shop as well. And so it's definitely a big thing to do. And then the malls, like there are so many centro comerciales here, and like shopping is just a thing. Like Medellin is the dupe city, first of all. Like any name brand, designer brand, anything, you gonna find it here for $5, $10. Like you're gonna find it. I have been looking for the black thong toe Birkenstocks, and I'm not necessarily a fan of like the cork bottom, but I'm like, if I could find an all black pair of these, I would love that. I would love that, right? I've been trying these shoes on, looking for them everywhere, $200-300 at least. Why I find them in Medellin, They're definitely like the knockoff version. I'm sure probably, hell, Birkenstock might be buying them from here and selling them in the States. I don't know. I don't care. $2. These shoes cost me 10 mil, aka about $2-3. Baby, they're my favorite shoes. I went and bought 2 pair, okay? 2, because they're the most, when I tell you they're the most comfortable shoes I ever had, and I've tried on the Birkenstocks. They feel exactly the same. You cannot convince me that they're not the same shoe. You can't convince me they're not the same shoe. So anyway, if you like to shop, you can shop here and spend 3 times less. Those are just some things to do based on my experience. I'm sure there are tons of other things to do, but those are the things that either I've heard of or I've done, and you could do too. That brings me to my next point of, do you need to know Spanish? Yes. If you don't know Spanish, you gonna need to know some basics when you come here. All right, hola and como estás can only get you so far. There are definitely like key words and phrases that I use on a daily basis. I've actually created a guide for you if you are traveling in Central and South America. These are the words, phrases, and tips that you are absolutely going to need on a daily basis. So if you do not know Spanish, or you're just learning, you're practicing, download the guide. All right, I made this just for people like you and me who are traveling and trying to get around daily. So just to give you a few, you're gonna need to know the number code to get in your Uber. All right, so it's gonna be a 4-digit code. You're gonna have to get to your Uber. If you don't know your Spanish numbers and you're trying to, it could delay your Uber, like just know your numbers, all right? Obviously, like hola, como estás, buenas is a very common, just a common greeting across Central South America. Buenas, that's it. All right, whether it's night, evening, morning, whatever, buenas, it's just like a hey, it's a little less formal. When you're ordering something, this is probably the most common, because I always out to get coffee, I'm always out to get some food, right? And so I may say quisiera, like could I have, or I would like to have, or could you get me a, so me puedes dar un café, or I just say the thing I need, like café con leche, por favor. Right? And it's always the please, like could I have a, could you get me a, or say the thing and por favor. Them the main like couple things that I use regularly in addition to my Uber code. So I'll put that link in the description, but you can get that that guide and use that, because I'm telling you, these are the phrases I use every single day. They will definitely help you. All right, I will say you could get by without being fluent, but you need to know the basics. Most people do not speak fluent English, all right? So just get that out the way. Oh, your passport. You're gonna need your passport number to get into the Airbnbs, all right? So just make sure you got your passport on you. Most of the time, they will take a photo of your passport just to like check you in, but just have it with you just in case, because I know sometimes you might be traveling, your passport might be like tucked away somewhere. You might have packed your stuff up already and it's gone, and it's in your room. Just have it with you for check-in. All right, that's just a common thing here. They gonna check your passport before they check you into your hotel or your Airbnb. All right, I would say all in all, I do enjoy being in Medellin. The weather, I came during rainy season, so when I tell you it was raining every single day, it's just now kind of settling down. I got here at the end of April, and so it's June now, and it is starting to kind of fade away. It's not raining as much. It does rain a bit, but not as much as it did when I first got here. So from what I've been told, there are 2 rainy seasons. One is in what the US would consider to be spring, and the other is in like late fall. So do your research on that, but just know if you come during rainy season, baby, it's gonna be raining. I'm talking torrential downpour. But it does make for beautiful agriculture, a very tropical vibe. The greenery in Medellin is absolutely beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. Oh, I think I just heard thunder. The timing. But yeah, the greenery is beautiful. And so I will say overall, if you plan to visit Medellin, the main takeaways that you need to get from this video are: 1, no data papaya. All right, don't be coming out here a bunch of jewelry, flashy, all of that with your phone out. Don't do it to yourself. All right, you're gonna make yourself a target, but other than that, you will be just fine. 2, Airbnbs, if you get an Airbnb for a month or longer, your stay will probably be less expensive. But if you don't care about that, hey, Poblado, you're gonna pay more, period. Laureles, Belén, and other surrounding areas, you're definitely gonna pay less, and you're gonna have a more local kind of community vibe. You do need to know some Spanish basics. A lot of people don't speak English here, so make sure you freshen up. And if you haven't already, download my guide, because I give you all the basics that you need to know. No, I'm not a Spanish tutor, but these are things that I have used every single day for the past 6 months, so I feel like they can help you. Cost of living in general, fairly low depending on where you're coming from. I'm coming from the States, so the conversion rate from Colombian pesos to the dollar, I could definitely stretch my dollar far here. Groceries probably gonna cost me about $50-$60 for the month, all right, depending on where you go. Now, if you shopping in El Poblado, or you're shopping at I think the grocery store is La Cruella, I can't remember the name. It's a green grocery store. It's like their version of Whole Foods. You gonna spend a lot more money there. I got a bunch of vegetables, potatoes, greens, a bunch of stuff yesterday. I spent $6 mil, which is like a little over $1. And then last but not least, if you're a woman, especially, just be mindful, you know, who you're with, who you're talking to, especially if you are around strangers. Again, I walk around by myself all the time. I do not feel like I'm in danger, but I'm also not going to put myself in any situations where I could possibly be taken advantage of. I'm not going to be overly friendly to men I don't know. I'm not going to, I'm really not into exchanging social media or information or contact information with strangers I don't know. It's just not a good setup. Like, you just never know someone's intentions, especially if they know you're a tourist, you know. Oh, and then last but not least, try to know what something costs beforehand. All right, look it up, maybe ask right away, because then that won't give people time to try to make up a number. If something don't have a price on it, just ask right away, like try to catch people off guard. Because if you sitting there looking around and you look like a tourist, you're giving them time, one, to recognize, oh, this is a tourist, okay, and to also inflate the price, because they will do that. As nice as they might be, like, hola chica, ¿cómo estás? They know you got some money. Maybe they will inflate them prices, okay, because they know you don't know no better. So ask, and then also try not to speak English too loud. Okay, try not to speak English too loud, because when somebody knows you're a tourist, if them prices ain't listed somewhere, they can just make it up. They just be like, instead of 10 mil, it'd be 20 for you. Okay, 20 for you, baby, because you don't know no better. So just be mindful of that. And then if you are in an unfamiliar, non-touristy neighborhood, try not to speak English too loud. Okay, because that, again, is a way to make yourself a target. Like, oh, well, no, they're not from around here. And you look like you got, you know, Americans love wearing some accessories. Necklace, sunglasses, bracelets, watches. And you speaking English real loud, you giving a reason. All right, so don't give a reason, okay? Anyway, that is my 2 cents on traveling to Medellin, Colombia. I hope this was helpful for anybody out there who is planning a trip to Medellin. Again, this is my first time here. I've been here for a little over a month. I am not Colombian. I'm not from Colombia or Medellin. So if you want someone else's perspective on it, look around, all right? Ask around. This is just my personal opinion. This is my personal experience. Overall, it's been a pretty good experience. I feel like this is definitely a place that I could hop in and visit, but I don't think it's a place that I would necessarily want to live long term. Next up, I want to visit some of the coastal cities. So I've heard Cali, Cartagena, and you know, other areas along the coast are beautiful. So that may be next on the list. I don't know. If you've been to any of those places, let me know. If there are other places in Colombia you think I should visit, put it down in the comments. We'll love to know your experiences as well. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Maybe I'll make another video or a part 2. But in the meantime, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to download my beginner Spanish tips and phrases guide, especially if you're traveling to Central or South America. And other than that, I will see y'all in the next video.